You want to put it under? Good afternoon. My name is Erin Popolo, and I'm from South Brunswick. In 2021, I lost my 17-year-old daughter, Emily, to suicide after she was cyberbullied on social media. And to add insult to injury, the bullies then logged into her funeral, which was held virtually due to COVID restrictions, and they took it over and continued their attacks on my baby, threatening to blow up the funeral home and her casket to ashes. Children's online safety has become a hot topic as it explodes in today's society. Our children are becoming dehumanized behind a screen, as evidenced by their egregious behavior during my daughter's funeral. Children are growing up on screens, which is affecting their connections to others and is impacting every aspect of their mental health. Our children are dying. Big tech has a responsibility to protect our children on their platforms to keep them safe. They need to stop putting profits over people. They need to stop designing platforms with algorithms that addict our children. They need to stop promoting harmful content to our most valuable resource. I have been fighting for online safety for 4 years at the federal level, which in today's climate is fighting a losing battle. We as parents will need to rely on our state laws to make the desperately needed changes. When we give our children access to the world through technology, we must remember that we are also giving the world access to our children. This must change. Mikie Sherrill is the only candidate for governor here in New Jersey who is even talking about this. Her New Jersey online safety agenda calls for age-appropriate design, phone-free schools, requirements for social media warning labels, creation of a public awareness campaign for kids and their parents to help them understand the dangers lurking online and how to best keep our children safe. She will require responsible development of AI and protect everyone against deepfakes. Mikie is committed to holding social media companies accountable and requiring transparency from them in a time where social media isn't going anywhere. As a mom, I know she truly understands how critical this online safety agenda is and how urgently it is needed as big tech is miserably failing our children. We need to act now, New Jersey. We need to elect a governor who will prioritize our children and their safety in a world that has become so dependent on screens and technology. Let's lead this fight to protect our kids with Mikie Sherrill. Thank you. I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Felicia Horn.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Felicia Horn, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker in the state of New Jersey. I'm also the founder of a group practice in Essex County that serves all ages, but was founded based on our community work with the youth. I have been practicing for the past 15 years, and what I've seen in the past 5 years is pure crisis. We are in a mental health crisis. The reality is there have been increased rates of depression, anxiety, and suicide for our youth. Emergency rooms, psychiatric facilities, schools, and therapy practices report a surge in emotional distress in our youth. Digital environments, while not the sole cause, are powerful amplifiers of stress, comparison, and disconnection. Other challenges include cyberbullying, exclusion, sleep disruption, attention challenges, and misinformation exposure. There are also emerging concerns with AI and chatbots, including emotional dependence. Our youth are going to these platforms instead of speaking with their parents, speaking with school, speaking with guidance counselors, or even going to therapy. There's inaccurate or harmful advice, and there's huge isolation risks. More and more youth are using these platforms as a replacement for human empathy, human connection, or therapy. Youth already struggling with anxiety, depression, and isolation are the ones at risk. Technology can both connect and consume us, and it is important to teach awareness and not avoidance. We must act. There are ways to build digital resilience, and we must take a stand for the support and emotional well-being of our future leaders. This is why it's so important to support this agenda, as Mikie is the only one talking about not only the fears of what's going on out online, but also the mental health of our youth. We must protect our youth. Now I'd like to introduce Adam.
Hello, my name's Adam. I'm 16 years old and I've grown up in the social media generation. Most online platforms allow people to make negative comments without worrying about any repercussions. People online say things that they wouldn't otherwise say to someone's face. Even when I've reported negative comments, it seems like it's not being reviewed in context. It's as if an AI bot is evaluating the comment and not understanding the harmful intent. When I was in middle school, I had a series of instances of online harassment and bullying via Snapchat and Discord. Disturbing and vile comments were made about me, and nothing was flagged as inappropriate or bullying. Creating a safer online environment and holding big online platforms accountable, such as what Mikie Sherrill is advocating for, will help prevent so many young kids from having to deal with online harassment and bullying. Online platforms can be used for good, but can also be used for bad. Educating kids on how to handle instances of online harassment or bullying is a key component to creating a safe online environment for kids to enjoy. Thank you. I'd like to introduce my mom, Robin Wiener Renteria.
Hi, my name is Robin, and I'm from Glen Ridge, New Jersey, and I am Adam's proud mom. As a parent, there's nothing more important to me than my children's safety. My boys grew up in a house with all the outlets covered, baby gates everywhere, the sharp edges of everything swaddled in soft bumpers, because I am that mom. The market for safety devices for babies is huge, but then they get older and what they need protection from is different. Unfortunately for us as parents, we can't buy a gadget in the store to protect our kids at this stage. It's often beyond our control. Much of it is, however, within the control of big tech companies. Both of my boys got around existing parental controls to create social media accounts that we were initially not aware of. To do so, all they had to do was lie about their age. And it was easy. Count back a couple of years and boom, you're suddenly old enough to have an account to start with or to create another separate account with access to features meant for older kids. No parental approval or age verification required. Just type in whatever you want and those companies wash their hands of any responsibility for what comes next. Because your date of birth says you're 13, doesn't matter that you are actually 11. With all the billions of dollars that these big tech companies have, I simply cannot imagine that they cannot come up with ways to require actual parental approval or age verification that's accurate or a whole host of other safety measures that people smarter than me can identify. But they don't use their money that way. In fact, they work against us as parents because it makes them money. Doesn't matter to them that their algorithms fed sad and depressing content to Adam when he was sad and depressed already. Doesn't matter that they kept him in that loop, that the videos and other content they put in front of him validated that he should be sad and depressed, or that they actively worked against everything his dad, his therapist, his psychiatrist, and I were doing to help Adam find his way out. These algorithms made Instagram and TikTok money, and so my son slid closer and closer to suicide. It felt like it was us against the apps on his phone, a David and Goliath level battle if there ever was one, and it felt like we had zero chance of winning. Meanwhile, part of the reason he was struggling, he just told you about. Less than 2 months after starting a new middle school, he faced threats of physical and sexual violence, graphically described in messages on Discord and Snapchat. The words were direct, clear, and unmistakable, and yet no filter caught them, Nothing was flagged. Nobody alerted me as a parent that my child was being tortured and feeling unsafe. I didn't find out about these messages for 3 months until one day Adam collapsed under the weight of it all and called me crying from a bathroom stall at school. What I saw on his phone made me cry, and it made me angry. Big tech companies are just that, big and companies. They have a bottom line to protect. They aren't going to make things better simply because it's the right thing to do or because we ask them to. They won't change until it costs them more money to do the right thing. Until it costs them more money to stay the same than it does to do the right thing. They have to be held accountable for the damage their platforms can cause. Mikie Sherrill's online safety plan will hold these companies accountable for their content and, more importantly, for the algorithms that control what we and our children see on social media. Her plan will help educate us as parents on what the best research says about how and when to introduce social media to our kids. It will ensure that AI-generated content is labeled as such so that our kids and we know what's real versus what's being made up or manipulated. And it can help keep us all protected from online scams. It's a fact of life that kids live their lives online today. The least we can do as parents and adults is to make it as safe as possible for them. I'm grateful to have Mikie on our side, working to make the online world safer for everyone's kids. I am not surprised at all that she's made online safety such a key part of her plan, because she is that mom too. Thank you. And now I am profoundly honored to introduce my U.S. representative and our future governor, Mikie Sherrill. Thank you.
Now, I really want to start by thanking Kean University, Dr. Repillette, for hosting us today to talk about this incredibly important issue. Thanks, Felicia, for sharing your insights on what you're seeing in the field. It's certainly what, as parents, we're seeing everywhere. I'm heartbroken by what we heard from Aaron, and I'm so sorry for what you've gone through, for your loss. Thanks for sharing your story. I just pray that it helps us in this fight so that other families never experience what you have. And I can't tell you how important I think it is that we hear from voices like Robin and Adam. You were very eloquent in this conversation. So thank you for taking the time. And just, Adam, you have so many people cheering you on. And your advocacy is going to help so many young people not go through what you went through. And it's because of these stories you've just heard that I am so focused on protecting our kids. I'm a mom of 4. My oldest is 20. My youngest is 13. And I can tell you that what I have seen from social media is destroying the youth of so many of our children. We are failing our children when it comes to protecting them online. I see it in my own home. As you've heard, trying to put locks on your kids' phones when, quite frankly, they understand the technology far better than you ever will. It's a losing battle. And I can tell when we've lost, because it's the difference between my kids engaging with myself or with their friends, or going out to ride a bike, or looking for other activities to do, and holing up in a corner of the house and scrolling mindlessly through Reels or TikTok. And once they figure out how to break through, their mental health is worse and worse. Their grades get worse and worse. And we see that across kids all over our state. And so that's why I continue in this battle to fight for kids' online safety. And the federal government has failed. We've seen the Senate pass this with over 90 votes. Nothing gets over 90 votes in the Senate anymore, except when we come together to protect our kids. But then you bring it to the House, and big tech dumps millions onto the Republican majority, and they kill it in the House. That's why I'm fighting at the state level, because Donald Trump and his billionaire donors from Meta and X will never protect our kids. Because as you've heard, they're fighting to do the opposite. They're fighting to continue to get our children more and more addicted, to use nudges to try to drive them into giving up personal data online, to try to keep them scrolling through. And if that means destroying their mental health up to and including having children die by suicide, so be it if they're making money. So that's why we're going to stand up in New Jersey. As governor, I'll enact an age-appropriate design code that requires big tech companies to proactively protect our children online. This means ensuring that algorithms aren't directing kids to content that promotes self-harm or eating disorders, and it means banning the use of practices that trick our kids into seeing harmful content or sharing their personal data. I'll protect their privacy online. I'll make sure that I'll start a first of its kind social media addiction observatory here in New Jersey in partnership with our colleges and universities. Because right now, the people with the most information are the very people that are causing the most harm. So here in New Jersey, we're going to have the tools to fight back. I'll continue to ban cell phones from the classroom so our kids can learn uninterrupted. And I'll develop public information and awareness campaigns for our kids and their parents, because so many of us struggle to keep up with what's happening online and how to best protect our children. It's not going to be easy, but I am committed to taking on this fight, not just for my kids, but for all of our kids. I am running to chart a new path forward in our state and a future where we can both take advantage of the technology and see the great outcomes it can provide, while at the same time protecting our children from the harmful downsides. So thank you all so much. And with that, I will turn it over to you for